Hello everybody, here we are today talking about the news. The Toronto Maple Leafs have fired their head coach Sheldon Keefe. So before we get into that, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So yes, after 5 seasons of being the Leafs head coach, Sheldon Keefe's time is done as they decide to fire him. And this comes after, some good regular season success. He ended up winning a division title in this time. They had 2 seasons with 50 or more wins, and they never finished below third in the Atlantic Division in his time there. On top of that, too, I looked on statmuse.com, and they said that the Leafs were 5th in wins over the past 5 years. Now, I'm going to be honest, I didn't pay to unlock the membership thing, so it only gives you part of it, but I could pretty much guarantee that they got to be top 10 in wins over the past 5 years, which of course coincides for the most part with Keefe's time. Now, Mike Babcock was there his first year, but the Leafs were only able to get 9 wins, I think, with Babcock as their head coach, and weren't in a playoff position from what I remember in the time. So Keefe can definitely claim that and claim, the majority of these wins, as Toronto was a really good regular season team. And with some of these achievements, you could claim the playoff appearances as part of the regular season success, as all 5 years they made the playoffs. But this is where the problem lies, as the team was only able to advance one time in those 5 seasons, which was last year when they ended up beating the Tampa Bay Lightning to move on to the second round. That was their first postseason series win since 2004, and all the other seasons they either failed to get out of the qualifying round, which was just a one-time thing, or the first round. Now, I know a lot of people look at this and say, oh, well, they did lose to teams that were able to make it to the Stanley Cup final, and that is true. 2021 Montreal, 2022 Tampa Bay, a lot of controversy in that Tampa Bay series. Montreal, they did lose 3-1. And then last year, the Panthers ended up going on to the Stanley Cup final. So I guess there is a little bit of an excuse, but still looking at all 5 seasons that Keefe was the head coach, they were 16-21 in all these playoff games. And they were a team that saw a big difference in terms of offense in the playoffs compared to the regular season. I'll put this up here. This is by Sean O'Leary of The Score. They wrote this article, and this is just part of it, so I wanted to put this up here and credit him for the work. Basically, the gist of this is everything that you can look at in terms of goals and PK and all those things. But one thing that you notice right away is the fact they're averaging about a goal less per game during the playoffs compared to the regular season. This is a team that during the course of the normal year is able to go out there and score a ton, whereas at times they aren't able to go out there and score many goals. And this is where the nail in the coffin finally came around this season, as in the playoffs they weren't able to score off the power play. And against Boston, the Bruins were just able to see Jeremy Swayman have an incredible save percentage and be a big part of the reason why they won. No, I'm not going to lie to you, Austin Matthews and William Nylander were out for good parts of this series, and I can guarantee had they been able to play and be healthy and 100%, would have probably made it a higher scoring series, but there still would have been a reduction in scoring from the playoffs to the regular season, and this year of all years seems to be the straw that broke the camel's back. I got to be honest, looking at this, I think his first 2 seasons would have been the years you would have especially fired him with those embarrassing playoff losses. But still, this is a club that has high expectations for themselves, and even with a coaching change from Babcock to Keefe, they're not able to go out there and do anything. Now, for Keefe's part, he ended up going out there and doing a really nice thing, and that was going on social media and talking about how he was grateful for his opportunity with the team and admitting that the playoff failures were the reason why he was getting fired. But again, there are some head coaches that will go out there and just go on a tear, rip into an organization, talk about players negatively and things like that when they are on their way out. And I think this is a kind of a classy move by Keefe, as he's able to look respectful, and he is still a very young head coach. He's about my dad's age and has 2 seasons where he's got, again, 50 wins. He has got a division title and will likely have NHL opportunities elsewhere. We talked about that in a video where it did very recently that did very well, so I'm hoping this one did well, about whether or not Keefe would get fired. And I imagine that a lot of teams that are looking to get better or think that if he is able to be hired, they can get to where they want to go, probably towards the playoffs, then he is going to get a great chance somewhere. Now, I don't really know where that's going to be, but he is not even 50 yet, so the opportunities are out there. And with that, Keefe is now the 11th head coach this season to be fired. There could possibly be even more, as about 1 in every 3 coaches in the league that were there at the start of the season are not there anymore. Rick Bowness does not count in this group because, of course, he wasn't fired. He retired, but that is now 12 coaches out of a 32-team league that are not going to be back for next season. Now, I know some of these positions have already been filled, but one thing that was very interesting that I've kept track of over the course of the year is out of these 11 coaches, 7 of them made the playoffs last year that were fired. So the expectations are high for a lot of these teams as they go to the playoffs, and if they fail to do so a year after, you're seeing a lot of coaching changes, and I'm not exactly sure where I read this. I'll try to click the article down below in the description where it talked about how the NHL is the worst in North America right now out of the major sports in terms of how many coaches get fired on a yearly basis. So very interesting to watch out for. I didn't typically pay attention to the amount of head coaches on any given year, but as I put more and more time into the channel and do more videos, something that I am going to do a video about at the end of this season, talking about all the head coaches that got fired. And of course, we'll be keeping track of that next season as well, as Keefe could be part of a new team and maybe he's not going to get fired there. So that would be nice. And then the final question becomes, who is going to take over as the Maple Leafs head coach? This is a job that is feared and coveted at the same time. Again, Keefe ended up talking about how it was a privilege to coach this team, because at the end of the day, it really is a privilege to be able to coach the Maple Leafs. I know a lot of people make fun of them, but there is a totally different culture for Toronto and some of these other original six teams or some of these bigger markets where if they give you the job, they are handing you the keys to one of the most valuable franchises in the league, and in some cases in North America, looking at like the Rangers in Montreal with their value, and they are basically saying, we believe in you enough to let you coach this team to be able to guide us to success, because this brand is valuable and we're going to let you be in charge of the players which contribute to the brand. So I do kind of wonder what's going to happen here. I think this is a position nobody wants for job security, because it's very easy to get fired in a market where they have, again, such big expectations. But again, the draw of being able to say you coach the Maple Leafs is big. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, what are your thoughts on Sheldon Keefe getting fired? Do you think it was a good thing for the Maple Leafs in terms of the right decision? Do you think he'll get an opportunity elsewhere? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And you love hockey, all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.